Hello, I'm Casey Aiken, and this is 21 This Week. Coming up next, 3 arrested in murder of 2 Germantown high school students. What are officials doing about an apparent crime wave? City of Rockville is latest to come out as a sanctuary city. CareFirst of Maryland proposes another 52% increase in health care premiums. Can anyone afford more Obamacare? Democrats lose all 4 special congressional elections. Is this a harbinger for Maryland in 2018? Stay tuned. Our panel of insiders will give you the story behind the story. We're joined by media consultant Jerry Cave, political strategist Susan Heltemes, education activist Cynthia Rubenstein, and young Republican entrepreneur Evan Young. Stay tuned for these stories and more on the next 21 This Week. Montgomery County Police have arrested 3 alleged gunmen in the horrific murder of Shadid Nazar, Artem Zibarov, 2 teenagers planning to graduate from Northwest High School. The tragic killing of the 2 teens shocked the county, as both Zibarov and Nazir were initially presented as 2 honor roll students on the verge of a great future. As police later learned, the double homicide may have been in retaliation for a drug-related theft allegedly committed by Nazir several months earlier. Susan, there have been several high-profile crimes being committed in the county. How have government officials reacted to what many consider a crime wave?
I think it's a bit much to call it a crime wave, but I think the government officials have done the right thing. The police have investigated the cases. They've apprehended people, and then the state's attorney's office have charged them, and now it's up to a jury of their peers to figure out what is going to happen to them. And I think it's irresponsible in these days of racism and hatred going on in the world to talk about this, because, as you said, it is alleged and supposed. And well, Susan, so now it's in the hands of the jury.
Besides the alleged nature of the crime and how it's awful to talk about it, let me talk about the real world. In Gaithersburg right now, the price of housing in Montgomery Village has dropped 20% because of the alleged crime wave that's not happening in the county. Jerry, little is known about the 3 suspects, and police have downplayed the suggestion that there was gang activity involved. But at least one of the suspects, Jose Canales Yanez, has been arrested 6 times for drug-related crimes in the past year. Is this an isolated incident, as Susan is suggesting, or something else?
The 270 corridor used to be one of the safest corridors in the country, and it was not because of politics, it was because of demographics. But the politics are working against that now, and it comes out of the left. What they've done, my brother taught in Anacostia for 20 or 30 years. I said, give me the takeaway. He said, the kids have no fear of consequences. So the education department teaches them that, and then the police do the same thing. This guy was arrested 6 times, and they let him out. That is encouraging him to do it. We have the same thing on a national scale where the left is committing acts of violence, inciting violence, and threats of violence that have escalated into what happened 10 days ago in Alexandria, where leftists attempted to assassinate 5 Republicans.
Jerry, are you trying to say the left is responsible for the U.S. crime wave?
They don't teach anybody to have fear.
I want Cynthia come in on this.
That's ridiculous. For one thing,
take a deep breath.
I'm taking a deep breath. For one thing, in this case, the police very quickly apprehended these 3 men. If the police did not have community trust, that case would not have been broken open so quickly. Yes, we have a problem in Montgomery County, but we have incredible public servants in the police department who
I'm not criticizing the police. I'm criticizing the culture of permissiveness and not holding people accountable.
Well,
which
they
is what
were
you have
held
brought to the education.
They were apprehended almost immediately.
No comfort to the family.
Jerry, they were arrested, though. They were arrested
in a matter of days.
The guy was let out 6 times.
But who's responsible for that? Not the cops.
I want to go to our newest panelist, Evan Young, who was a graduate of the Montgomery County Public School System. What is your take on this?
I'm glad he was arrested this time, but the fact fact of the matter is 6 arrests in the past year. In February, he was involved in a botched drug deal that ended in a shooting. Why was he out walking around in the first place, free to commit another crime?
That's the court system.
Yes.
Well, it's a failing of the court system. If 6 arrests and a drug deal and a shooting in the past year,
if he's been involved
and
with,
he's wandering around,
if he's used an armed firearm in the commission of a crime, he shouldn't be released.
I just want to respond to Jerry
Very
for a
quickly,
moment.
we've got to wrap it
You
up.
talk about the left. There have been dozens of shootings over the years with people who are more conservative on the right.
Document that,
Wait,
Susan, or stop talking about
Jerry,
it. Document it.
Jerry,
You know
It's
it.
not documented. No, it isn't. It's pure
Jerry,
speculation.
we're mixing apples and oranges here. Let's stick to the topic. We got to keep moving on. And this week, the Rockville City Council voted 3-2 in favor of an ordinance restricting city police from cooperating with federal immigration authorities or even asking residents about citizenship status. Voting in favor of the measure was Julie Plakovich-Carr, Virginia Onley, and Mark Priscilla. Mayor Bridget Donald Newton and Burl Feinberg, neither of whom have been considered conservative, opposed the bill. Cynthia, this week a young illegal alien from El Salvador, Darwin Martinez Torres, beat to death Nabra Hassani, a 17-year-old Muslim teenager in Fairfax County, based on road rage. Isn't the paranoia of the left regarding the cooperation with federal officials placing citizens at risk? They didn't even know this guy was in the country.
Look, in Montgomery County, you talk to Chief Tom Manger about his opinion and the police department's opinion about these kinds of ordinances. Montgomery County does not have an ordinance, has not codified this, but its practice is not to ask for status because they need to be trusted by the community so that they can keep communities safe, and so the community will trust them enough to share information so that they can apprehend
But if
bad
this was
actors.
Jerry, hold on. If this was the policy, then why does the city of Rockville feel necessary to pass an ordinance?
Well, 2 of the council members voted against it, and I think they were right. Codifying it, number one, makes Rockville a legal target. If it's a matter of policy and practice, then you
So
have...
it's okay to do it, but just not call it.
Don't codify it.
Evan, in March, the city of Rockville was in the national spotlight once again when 2 illegal alien teenagers allegedly raped a freshman student at Rockville High School. Why are local officials so tolerant of those who are here illegally?
well, in many cases, I think the policy positions are not based on their fundamental beliefs. It's based on public opinion and based on what's popular at the moment. If you look a decade ago, Senator Obama and Senator Clinton were voting in favor of George Bush's Secure Fence Act. Now, any mention of a fence or a border, it's racist, it's xenophobic, it's mean-spirited, all the ridiculous terms they throw out. But last year, February 2016, Ike Leggett's going around the county talking to people, reassuring, his words, reassuring that he would not cooperate with ICE in Montgomery County, and that was President Obama's ICE. So they're more, and actually the reason I think that term limits passed, 70%, more Democrats than Republicans signed that, is because they're tired of these Democrats switching their positions based on what they think people want to hear at the moment.
Susan, we have seen in the past that there is a growing reaction to the tolerance for illegal aliens in the county. Is this the right way to continue?
I want to differ with what you said about Ike and the tolerance in the county. What he said is that we will let the feds know if we have someone in the county jail system, but if they don't come and get them, we're not going to detain them beyond when they're supposed to be released. And I think that the local people in this area, and even in the state of Maryland, it is not up to a county or a state to develop immigration policy. The feds should be dealing with this. And the Democrats have produced over the years multiple, especially in the Senate, multiple proposals, and the Republicans didn't even look at them. But it's got to get done at the national level, and locals should not be doing it. And I think it's part of being in America that you're not asked, do you have your cards on you? Are you legitimate? You don't have to do that. And you shouldn't have to do that.
But the feds need cooperation from local law enforcement. In the uber left-wing Atlantic this week, by one of their uber left-wing writers, They posed the question how the left lost their way on illegal immigration. 10 years ago, their positions were exactly the ones the conservatives have right now, that illegal immigration diminishes wages, jobs, violence, the whole 9 yards, but they switched and have gone in this insane direction recently. And he said they need to go back to where they were 10 years ago and put Americans, legal American citizens first, and stop this nonsense.
Who's going to milk the cows?
Talk to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce about that idea.
And you know what? The U.S. Chamber of Commerce is exactly the enemy. What they want is cheap labor, and what the Democrats want are even cheaper votes to be turned into voting citizens.
Yeah,
and
Jerry,
it's a pox upon the American
we need
worker.
immigrants to take low.
They won't do those jobs. Americans won't do them at those wages.
Well, then
we have a break now. Thank you. When we come back from this short break, while Congress attempts to fix Obamacare, and CareFirst of Maryland is seeking a big 52% increase in premiums. Stay tuned after this short break. And welcome back. Earlier this week, CareFirst Blue Cross of Maryland requested a 52% increase for individuals on the Maryland Health Exchange created by the Affordable Care Act. Consumer advocacy groups called the proposed increases stunning and unaffordable for many. Cynthia, while Congress dithers on repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act with something better, healthcare consumers in Maryland are being asked to pay an incredible price for coverage. Is it fair to most Marylanders?
No, it's not fair, but two things. Insurance companies are responding to an incredible situation of uncertainty. And when they're uncertain, they take measures to protect themselves. And number two, one of the core problems with providing insurance access and affordability in the United States is that you have to have a pool of people that includes healthy people, and in order to prop up the entire collective of Americans. And that is a perennial problem that the ACA did not solve, and neither does this proposed plan on the Hill today.
Susan, there's no doubt that Obamacare is struggling, as many states only have one or none insurers in them. Isn't Obamacare in a death spiral and needs to be replaced?
No, and it doesn't need to be replaced. It needs some amendments, but it certainly doesn't need to be replaced. And for the first time, I agreed with Larry Hogan today. He said what's going on is wrong. This plan is not good for Marylanders. He said it's time to have this health care reform in the Senate. We need a transparent, open, and bipartisan approach to it so that it's good for all Americans. That's the first time I've agreed with him.
He sounds like a guy running for re-election.
I know he does. In a state that's more democratic.
But the real problem, Susan, is we have seen our individual health care premiums double and triple and quadruple over the last 5 years.
What happened in Maryland?
Casey, that is absolutely impossible because President Obama promised us that our health care costs would go down, and if they've gone up, that would make him, the architects of Obamacare, and all the Democrats to be liars.
And
so
in
what you said
comparison
can't be
to
true.
the guy in the White House and the Republicans, they tell white fibs if you want to go that route. But what happened in Maryland is that the Blue Cross CareFirst has 2/3 of the individual policies, and many of them are people who are elderly. But in Virginia, the proposed increase was 21%.
And so I live here.
I know.
So when I get that increase,
it affects me. Nothing's going up 21%.
The insurance commissioner makes the final decision. And as of now, the legislature, the governor, and the insurance commissioner have not shown any great leadership on this issue. So it's going to be...
How can there be leadership on this issue when you are forced to absorb all these individuals into your health care system?
And everybody deserves the right to be covered, and that's why Maryland has their own
And the middle-class
plan.
people that used to be able to afford their health care can't.
That's why
Can't.
ACA or Obamacare needs to be revised some. We certainly don't need to.
That is great consolation to those
Cynthia.
people.
I have to go back to the fact that insurance pools need to include people who are young and healthy.
They're all-
They need to be and that was a non-success.
The
And but
fundamental-
It was
Wait a
made
minute.
unaffordable
Cynthia-
for young,
Enough
healthy
of
people.
them signed up.
is about the mandate that you have to
But the Republicans' plan does not solve that problem
All right.
And
either.
young, healthy
Cynthia
people.
hit the nail on the head.
We're going to
Exactly.
go on
It's the
because
young.
we're
They
not
wanna-
solving it tonight, and neither is the Congress.
It's
So,
another-
so we're going to go on to our fourth and last topic. While Republicans are doing a victory lap after the party successfully held on to 2 House seats this past week, Democrats are left wondering whether they have a message to sell to voters in 2018. Susan, isn't your party now on the verge of irrelevance after it's lost 4 elections? All you've got is strum and drang in the newspapers.
They can do whatever they want there. The bottom line is these were all strong Republican districts that have been held by Republicans a long time. Yeah, it would have been great to win them, but they came darn close. And I think that if the Republicans continue on their march as they are in Congress right now, voters will realize next year that they don't want to go to that side. But the challenge then, now, and in the past is for Democrats to get their unified message and then...
What is that unified message?
That we're the party of the people. We're the party of the people.
Jerry,
And wait a minute. And then the other challenge to the Democrats is to get their voters out.
Jerry, despite the lack of success in the special House election, there are plenty of Democrats eager to challenge Maryland Republican Larry Hogan. Another one came out today, and Rushern Baker announced earlier in the week. Why are so many people taking shots at Larry Hogan as governor?
Well, some people are gluttons for punishment, and that's what's going to happen if you run against Larry Hogan. The guy could get elected as a Republican, as a Democrat, as a member of the Washington Redskins or Baltimore Ravens. The guy isn't going to be beat. He's the second smartest politician in the country, and nobody's going to beat him. What the outlier to watch is what John Delaney does, and because he's the smartest guy in Maryland politics other than Governor Hogan, and he's not going to run against Hogan. The problem the Democrats have, which Susan was not able to articulate, and Cynthia's probably not going to be able to do it either, is that they've been running on images, and they're empty, they're vapid, they got nothing there, instead of running on issues. We're the party of blah, blah, fill it in. But they have no issues that work. They have no issues that the American people want. Larry Hogan ran on issues, and he won.
Cynthia, take a big, deep breath.
Give it a shot, Cynthia. I know you can do
The
it.
pool of candidates who are putting themselves up as Democrats to run against Larry Hogan are substantive. And right now, I think the strongest one is Rushern Baker, who is ably served in the, well, Susan is disagreeing with me. I think he's the one with the most substance, the one who has served in the legislature, has been a very successful county executive, and comes from Prince George's County, which is voter rich, and he will also appeal to voters in Baltimore.
I
Are you
think that
disagreeing with? Are you disagreeing with
Constituents
her?
already
Are you
have.
disagreeing with her?
I am, but when it comes to Larry Hogan, the move he made today to finally come out against Trump about the Health Care Act is a very astute move on his side.
I would agree.
To say that he disagreed and it's not good for
Well,
Marylanders.
let me ask you a question. When during the 2016 election did Larry Hogan at any time embrace Donald Trump?
He didn't, but
didn't.
he has never had the courage to oppose him on anything. And today
He did
did
twice
it.
last year during the campaign.
He
No.
did yesterday.
No.
He did twice during the campaign.
Yes, but
Well, I wanna
but
let's
not
go to-
since he was president. And this is the first time. And health care is an issue that is probably more important in Maryland than any other.
Larry
Evan,
Hogan ran on
weigh in
issues.
on this.
He ran on issues. He won on issues in a state where Democrats outnumber us almost 3-1. Wildly popular, 70+% approval rating in a state that's virtually run by Democrats in every corner of it. He's going to run on issues again. He's going to win on issues again, and Democrats can't stand to get beaten in their own
The
state.
last polls show, though, that the number of people who are going to not vote for him is growing.
The polls showed him
because-
losing in 2014.
Susan, do you really think
he won.
he's not going to get reelected?
The polls had
I
him
don't
losing
believe he will
in his
be.
first election,
And I
he's
think
Governor
it can
Hogan
be
now.
placed totally on Donald Trump and the Republicans' behavior. And you know, now
I can't wait to
going
visit with you
behind-
after
That
the
shows
election.
how great of a governor he is, because that's all they
No one would
have.
have predicted
I wanna
that Bob
pose this
Ehrlich
question.
would have lost
I want to pose this question to
the
both,
governorship.
to both Democrats.
when he was wildly popular.
I mean, obviously, the Democratic base is going to be energized to vote against Trump. But don't you feel that there is a Republican base that is just as energized because they have rejected liberal Democratic policies?
I don't think
That's what we saw.
Because
That's
of their
really
results.
that's what we really saw in this election. That Donald Trump was the messenger for them, not because they liked him, but because they had rejected Democratic
And
policy.
I will tell you,
In a limited number of states, in a limited number of precincts.
and in Maryland,
For a
Remember,
limited number
Hillary Clinton
of
won
over
the
300
popular vote.
electoral votes.
and in Maryland, we went through a grueling primary, and there were a lot of people who didn't like our gubernatorial
We gotta wrap it
candidate,
up.
Who was
and,
weak.
and that
Very
was a
weak.
major factor in Hogan's winning.
All right, well, we have to wrap it up. It's been an interesting debate tonight. Stay tuned for parting shots. And now with parting shots, Susan Heltemes.
All Marylanders should be proud of Officer Crystal Griner, the Capitol Police officer who was defending Scalise and was shot in her ankle and was severely injured. She took an oath to protect and defend. The man she was protecting that day, Steve Scalise, proposed an amendment to protect marriage, voted no on reauthorizing the Violence Against American Act, supported anti-sex persons who didn't want to support or didn't want to serve gay individuals, and he sought to amend the Constitution to define traditional marriage. This is the man she could have lost her life to protect. I hope that when Congressman Scalise comes back, that he has seen the day of light and that he will protect and defend all Americans, including Officer Griner and her wife.
Thank you, Susan. Jerry Cave, your parting shot.
Breaking news instead of a parting shot. So the month before the election, on the Rio Grande Valley border between us and Mexico, they were arresting 6,000 illegal immigrants a week. Now it's down to 600. Why? Because of Donald Trump and his rhetoric. He has done more with rhetoric and order by threatening brick and mortar to build the wall. So the people that think he's not so smart, the people that think he should stop tweeting and stop talking, these are incredible results to achieve in such a brief period as our elected president. He is doing a great job. The left, somebody said, and this is very good, that the Donald Trump detractors take him literally but not seriously, and we take him seriously but not literally, and this is a perfect example. The wall may never get built because it may never need to be.
Thank you, Jerry. Cynthia Rubenstein, your parting shot.
Okay, away from politics, the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation made a major award of $1 million to the University of North Carolina for its work in providing access, support for first-generation college goers so that they can get into college, stay in college, and graduate from college. So normally I wouldn't be a UNC fan, but today I am.
Thank you, Cynthia. And Evan, your parting shot.
There's been a lot of turmoil this week regarding Nancy Pelosi, her leadership in the Democrat Party, and her future as a leader. I just want to take the chance to thank Nancy Pelosi from the bottom of my heart for all of her years of service to the Democrat Party, some of her more recent successes giving Republicans the House, the Senate, the majority of governors, the majority of state legislatures, and President Donald Trump. Nancy Pelosi, I look forward to your continued leadership.
Well, Evan, that was quite a first parting shot here on 21 this week. I know everybody on the panel took what you said to heart. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. We had a lively debate. We have serious topics. It's important that we be able to exchange ideas on these. I want to thank the audience for tuning in each and every week to Montgomery County's hardest hitting political talk show. For 21 this week, I'm Casey Aiken.